Are you looking for the perfect sheep intestine sandwich? When you're in the mood for an ice cream cone, do you like some random dude twirling it around on a stick for 5 minutes and making you look like a fool?
5 hours later.
When you feel like dancing, do you turn into some kind of a snappy-fingered bird man? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you need to come to Istanbul, Turkey. But if you're a retro gamer and you want to get your hands on some of the best retro gaming equipment there is, you don't need to come to Turkey. Turkey can come to you. Behar Bros.
Bruh. Now watch, I go into overdrive.
I bring in my phasers like that.
Welcome to Gamers Overdrive Retro Mode. Kick back and relax while I blast you back in time and guide you down a pixelated, coin-operated, button-mashing memory lane paved with joysticks, consoles, and dusty old cartridges. Where good guys are always good guys, bad guys are always bad guys, and the fate of the universe lies in your hands. Time to kick it into overdrive. Retro mode. Insert coin to play.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Gamers Overdrive Retro Mode. I'm your host, Johnny Retro. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends. I'm talking today about a really cool story that happened to me recently. I came to Istanbul about 4 years ago, maybe 4.5. And I'm a huge retro gaming fan, obviously. And while I was researching the scene here, I didn't really find many people that I could connect to. There are some small communities on Facebook here and there, and Instagram, of retro gaming collectors and that type of thing, but usually they're a little bit hard to get into. First of all, there's a language barrier, so if you don't speak very fluent Turkish, that can be a problem. Now, some of these gamers do speak English very well, and I have spoken to some of them, and, but it's a rare thing. It's kind of like, it's a very niche area, so retro gaming is not as ubiquitous as it is all over America and in most of Europe. But that said, recently, after shooting my Dreamcast video, which if you haven't seen it yet, please watch the video, it's a really cool one. I take apart the Dreamcast and do some really cool mods on it. But while researching that process, I came across a really interesting group of guys called the Behar Bros. Now, Adam Koralik, who I follow on YouTube, and I also follow Retro RGB. These guys are very well versed in the Dreamcast, and they're much more technically knowledgeable than I am. And they kept mentioning this this group called the Behar Bros. And I'd heard the name several times, and it wasn't until right as I was researching my video that I learned that the Behar Bros are based in Istanbul, Turkey. So I did a little quick research. I found their website and I reached out to them directly. And I spoke to Yossi Behar. And the guy is awesome. He's a really cool guy. And his story is kind of incredible. So his father was the first importer of Sega game machines to Turkey. So as he was growing up as a kid, he always had early access to Sega game systems. And it started with the Master System. But as time went on, his dad imported various different games and machines. And so he and his brother kind of were almost born into the business in a strange way. So they became game collectors and very early game modders. And then the Dreamcast came out, and of course they got their hands right on the Dreamcast. And they were all about the modding scene. So their early lives started out as merchants of video games inside of Istanbul in Turkey. And then it evolved as they learned the ins and outs of soldering and you know, various modifications. And so I was talking to Yossi, and he was just a really, really awesome guy. He's so knowledgeable. He knows way more about retro games and just games in general than I do. And you know, you can tell when you're in the presence of somebody who knows a lot more than you do. You just know. And he is not only super knowledgeable, but very open and very friendly. And so I got to talking with him, and he agreed to collaborate with me for this episode. So the Behar Bros, they're really talked a lot about these days for their Dreamcast connectability devices. And while I was doing my episode, I highlighted the Hyperkin cable, the HDMI Hyperkin cable. But the Behar Bros have much higher quality options for connecting your Dreamcast to the TV. And one of the interesting connectors that maybe Americans don't know a lot about, unless you are Adam Koralik or Retro RGB or one of those well-known Dreamcast YouTubers, but it's this thing right here. And this cable is probably something that doesn't look very familiar to a lot of you because it never came to America. We don't have this option here. And this option is called a Scart Cable. And so what you're looking at is a Scart Cable. What is a Scart Cable? That's a great question. So in America, we usually had, for, you know, back in the day when you had a CRT TV, you could connect, what were they called? The basic composite cables, you know, the little red, yellow, white, crappy cables that you don't really want to have to use if you don't have to. One step above that is a component cable, there are more colors in the variety of cables. But then we have something called S-Video. And S-Video is pretty much where we stopped right before VGA became a connectability option. And so VGA was used for primarily connecting to PC monitors because VGA just was the best signal available at the time. And the Dreamcast did have VGA boxes around the time that it was released. So you could play in a really high quality computer monitor with a VGA box. But in Europe, there was a little period between S-Video and HDMI where this type of cable became very popular. And the Scart Cable is just for like hardcore video files, and especially for the Dreamcast. I don't know what it is about the Dreamcast specifically, but Scart cables are all the rage for Dreamcast aficionados. And so if you did want to use a Scart cable, you would either need to have a Scart compatible TV or one of the Behar Bros cables that you can kind of connect this in a roundabout way that will keep the signal looking crisp and clean. Now, that said, there are other options that the Behar Bros do have for connecting your Dreamcast, and one of those is their HDMI Passthrough box. And this box, you look, all of their products have this really cool kind of glass metal design, very nicely designed. And they're open air, so there's no problem about heat or anything like that. They look super cool. And this one is called the Aquabox. And the Aquabox is your basic HDMI to the TV pass-through. And there is a switch on this box that will allow you to play a lot of the games that are not able to be played in VGA mode. If you're not like a videophile, or if you don't know what any of this means, don't worry, because I'm in the same boat with you. I'm learning as I go with these things, and there are a lot of terms that I'm just really only recently coming to understand. So when I learned about the Behar Bros and I learned about their products, I was very, very intrigued. And Yossi Behar was kind enough to give me a detailed kind of a rundown of what each of their devices does. So we have also a box called the Toro box, which I'm going to show you a little closer in a minute. And we have the Kuro box. And again, you see they all share a similar design. And there's also the VGA input here. And there's that Scart input right there. So a lot of these, there's really a box for whatever situation you're into. And if you want to preserve the quality of your Dreamcast picture, and not just Dreamcast, but a variety of other devices, the Behar Bros are your guys. They know what they're doing. They have incredibly high quality equipment. And if you look right here, you can see this is called the Shinybow, and the Shinybow is a Scart to HD TV converter. And I'm going to give you a closer look at these in just a second, and I'll give you a rundown on what each one of these does. So here we go. Let's take a closer look at these cool little boxes from the Behar Bros. So here you're looking at a lineup of some of the incredible Behar Bros products. Now, the first thing that I can show you here is the Toro. So the Toro is, let's take a look right here. Here's the Toro box. And this is highly recommended by Yossi himself. What does the Toro box do? It is both VGA and SCART, and it can make make your games basically compatible with the entire collection of Dreamcast. So, as I said before, if you have your games in VGA, some games just won't work. Some games were not designed to be played in the VGA mode. So this will allow you to play it through passing through with one of these switches here. You can kind of do a pass through, which allows you to kind of force those games into VGA mode, which is pretty cool. It can be used with some converters and upscalers also. It can output all of the video modes, that's from 240p, 480i, and 480p, through its output connectors, which are VGA and SCART. And as I said, there is a switch to select these. There's RGB at 15 kilohertz or VGA at 31 kilohertz. Now, since the US does not really support SCART unless you have a strange European TV, a lot of Americans will prefer the HDMI solution, which is the Aquabox. So here is the Aquabox right here. And the Aquabox has the same video mode switch, but it can display the lower RGB mode, that's 480i and 240p. The switch can be used to trick the console to boot in higher resolution. While booting, when you hear the VMU beep when you start up your Dreamcast, you can change from the RGB to the VGA position, and most of the games that you have can be played. So that's that little trick forcing the game into VGA mode. Now, Yossi Behar himself says that the best way to play the Dreamcast with these external solutions is to use the Toro right here, along with something called an OSSC. And what this does is it can actually line double the image to 960p and 1080p with lots of advanced features. So the Kuro Plus can also be used with it. The only difference is that it lacks the scan line generator feature of the Toro box, but they do have the same board. The Behar Bros also offer something called a Shinybow component converter, which doesn't upscale anything. It's just a one-to-one converter for TVs that don't have VGA or SCART input. All of these devices and many more can be found on the Behar Bros website, which you can see right here. And when it comes to you, it gets delivered in a lovely box with their branding on it. And I can say, these guys have amazing service. The quality of their products is second to none. And their customer service is fantastic. They seem to really care about their customers, and communicating with them is very, very easy. Again, I've been kind of picking Yossi's brain about various game converting options and connection options, and he just is so knowledgeable that I'm really blown away whenever I talk to him. So I'm sure you'll have the same experience. And as I said, there's a connection solution for every situation that you can find on the Behar Bros website. So now what I'm going to take a look at is one type of connection. I'm going to look at the very basic HDMI solution, the Aquabox, and I'm going to show you on my TV how it looks. So let's take a look. I actually had to record this part after my daughter went to sleep last night. Look at how cool that Aquabox looks in the dark. It just lights up. Here is my Dreamcast light. Just love the Dreamcast. I think it's a criminally underrated system. Or maybe it's not underrated. Maybe it's just rated just right. Fans know how awesome it is. But take a look at this. This is Soul Calibur in action, one of my favorite Dreamcast games. One of the best fighting games of all time. The Aquabox is giving a really nice, crisp, clean picture here. Not coming across that well, of course, I'm sure, but I want to flip the switch over here on the Aquabox now and show you some of the scanline features, which are actually really nice. I'm not usually a fan of scanlines. I'm just not. Whenever the option is there, I usually skip it. But for this box, I really love the different styles of scanlines that it offers. So you can see I'm switching between the different types. You can vary the distance between the lines. You can do alternating lines. And it's just a very cool feature. Now, this is a much more technical episode than I'm used to shooting. I had to do a lot of research on these products before I could talk about them, and even still I'm very confused. But I am very lucky in the sense that Yossi Behar and his bro, the Behar Bros, are my neighbors. They live right down the street from me here in Istanbul. What a small world it is. So, as I said again, the Behar Bros are super cool guys. Again, their website is right here. I would highly recommend taking a look. They don't just have Dreamcast connectors, they have a variety of really cool retro gaming products, including this amazing consoleized Neo Geo MVS, which is just insane. It looks like a Ferrari. They also have a consoleized Game Gear. They have super cool kind of obscure products that are really hard to find, and you're not going to find a cooler couple of guys who can make them for you. So once again, Behar Bros, you are A-OK in my book. And thank you very much for watching this episode of Gamers Overdrive Retro Mode. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. It's greatly appreciated as my channel continues to grow. And have a great day. I'll see you guys next time. And the Behar Bros, without a doubt, get the Overdrive rating from Johnny Retro. Thanks again, everybody. I'll see you next time.